So I got all this some engineering resin, and I wanted to try to print a little project. The challenge for me, I probably could have done this easily on FDM, but I think I wanted to challenge myself to see how big and how robust I could get a resin to print on the Sprintray Pro 95. So what the heck? You know, this is engineering sample resin. I don't think any of you would spend the amount of money this would normally cost to print this. At some point I'll probably make an FDM version of this available, or maybe I'll even release these files for those who have some spare resin they want to use. I got a hot glue gun here. I'm going to start to assemble this. I've already test fitted it. This is basically going to be a little jig to install or to filter resins before you pour them back in the bottle. That's important because we don't want to introduce chunkies back into our resin bottles. And so right now I'm just using a hot glue gun to secure these pieces. This is a Sprintray engineering sample of, I think, what would eventually become Night Guard Firm. I think the Night Guard Flex would be probably even better for this. One of the things we kind of take for granted in the FDM printing world is having a material that has that is both stiff and will bend a little bit though upon stress. And so the Night Guard resins both fit that bill. I think Flex more so than Firm does. This Firm stuff does seem to fracture on strain a little bit easier, of course. I'm not using it anywhere near what it's intended to be used as. So the idea here is to have a funnel filter stand. They sell them online, and these funnel filter stands, they hold a paint funnel filter above the paint can so that you can drip the paint through a funnel into the bottle, and that will become more clear as I get this assembled. The intention of the design here. So I'm just using hot glue here to stick it in. I think epoxy might work better, but you know, for this project you just need something to hold the stuff in place so it doesn't fall apart. I made this with pretty relaxed tolerances. One of the things I've learned when you with resin printed parts is that you don't want to have a really tight compression fit like you can take for granted on FDM. You know, every kind of print process has its pros and cons. I think with FDM I have much more resilient and cheaper materials, but I can't get nearly the level of detail that I can get on resin. So, you know, and you certainly can't use FDM for very many dental applications either. Here we go. Part of the reason I'm also showing you the resin version is that the FDM version, which I've also made, doesn't look nearly as pretty. This translucent purple's lovely. I don't know if you guys know why the Night Guard resins are purple. It has to do with color science. If you think about the color wheel, purple is the opposite of yellow. Why is that important? Because yellow is the color of the photo initiators that we use. They're kind of yellow, kind of like caffeine is. And so you need a color to hide them. Well, what's the best color to hide yellow? Well, it's the color wheel opposite of yellow, which is purple. And so by using this lovely lavender tint, not only does it look nice, it blocks the undesirable yellow tint that you otherwise see on any light cured resin. Now we take that for granted in our dental composites because, well, they all, the color of enamel colors all have a pretty healthy amount of yellow in the undertones. But it's kind of a tricky thing. Oh, this is actually getting a lot more sturdy once I've glued the joints together, which is cool. You can see here now it's taking the shape of a stand. Put it here. Now maybe that'll make a little more sense now. I'm going to start to glue in the bottom members here. There we go. There we go. So you're wondering how it's going to hold if I'm gluing it from the underside. Don't worry, I'm gluing another piece from the top, so this will all fit together and make sense. I've already cheated and test fitted everything, so I already know everything's going to fit. I didn't do the greatest job on this last round of parts as far as washing it goes, so there's some alcohol and resin artifacts. That's okay. This isn't being sold to my patients. This is just something fun we're doing in our lab, so not many people will see it, nor will they inspect it very closely, to be honest, so I'm not too worried. Since it's all clear, I'm not too worried about the hot glue everywhere either. We'll just kind of go with it. There we go. I'll go ahead and introduce some glue into this joint too. There we go. I have to say, it's a lot easier to work with hot glue with nitrile gloves on because don't have to have that little bit of stickiness attached to your fingers. So that said, hot glob of glue still hurts, but it's life, I guess. Okay, so now my little framework is definitely starting to, it's got a little wobble to it, but not nearly as much as before we glued it. So now we're going to put on these little hooks. Yeah, I don't think we rinsed this adequately. This was not adequately washed in the Pro Wash. I should have just washed these the old-fashioned way with the shaker. That's okay. In case you're wondering how much resin this is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 mils of resin. I think when all said and done, it'll kind of make you cringe because I think even with cheap generic resin, this would be a pretty expensive print. As I said again, probably the best thing here is to get the FDM version from me and have a friend print it if you don't have an FDM printer, because this is economically infeasible with resin. But I could, so I did. So there we go. Now Sprintray will probably never give me engineering samples again because I could have probably tested 30 night guards with this amount of resin, but it's done. So check this out. So the idea here is that we get a resin funnel and we stick it right here and right there. And now I'm going to unscrew this. Let's just test this right on the video, huh? Go ahead and turn off my hot glue gun. We're all done with it. So the idea is that the resin is going to go right into there. I've got a nice warm tank of this night guard engineering sample. I'm going to go ahead and put it in, and you'll notice that even though the mesh is much wider, that it will only go in that middle centimeter or so of the funnel. And so I can just power dump this really fast. One other thing I did, you're wondering why I have the hooks. It's so I can store my various tools on the side of it. So now I can put my little remover there, put another thing here, I'll put some pliers over here. So we have some handy tools to help remove stuff. And what I really wanted to do was make this chore a little bit easier by taking my hand off the bottle and off the funnel. this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. If you look very closely, you'll notice again the resin is only pouring into that pouring through the middle centimeter or so. So it's acting just like a funnel. Could this go badly? Yeah, probably. There is potential that funnel could divert itself while you're pouring and spill all over the countertop. So this is definitely a use at your own risk kind of deal. But I'm definitely happy. That's a good trial run there. I'm gonna grab some towels and a spatula and finish this up. I hope you enjoyed watching this little engineering test. I'd call that a success. Thanks for watching.